Talk. It is the 50th, yes, I said it, 50th show. We have an amazing show for you guys where we talk all things sports. I have Leon, I have Jeremiah, and I have Frank with me, and many more guests are coming. So let's get started.
Welcome to Jasmine Pollock's First Impression Sports Talk, the fastest growing sports talk show in the country. And now, here's your host, Jasmine Pollock.
Welcome back to Jasmine's First Impression Sports Talk. And let's bring in my guests, Frank, Jeremiah, and Leon. How are you guys doing tonight? Leon, let's start with you. How are you feeling about the 50th show of Jasmine's First Impression Sports Talk?
I'll tell you what, I'll just say, wow. 50th show. It doesn't seem like it's been that many, but it has. We did kind of a count. And I remember when you and I first met on LinkedIn, you responded to a post that I made. And then you sent me a friend request and you said, here's what I want to do. I want to be a sports analyst. And I'm like, all right. And I contacted producer extraordinaire Jay and said, what can we do? And here we are. And I'm just so glad that we did this. And I'm so happy for you and the progress you've made and where the show's going and everything. I am just thrilled to death at the way things are going. Congratulations to you, Jasmine.
Thank you, Leon. And it was such an amazing journey. A lot of rehearsing, a lot of notes, a lot of different things in order to make this happen. Jeremiah, for you, like, what's your experience been like these past 50 shows on this show, talking sports and having debate?
Yeah, I think that doing this show, especially for your 50th show, is very incredible to see how much it grown just from start to finish, from the ideas that you have, from even when it comes to having different guests on the different topics that we talked about. It was so fun. And, I enjoyed being on the episodes that I was able to and blessed to be a part of. And I'm just looking forward to what's more to come.
Oh, yeah. For sure. Tonight, we're going to talk a lot of sports. I have a lot of topics in mind. We're going to have a lot more guests coming. But Frank, I want to thank you for being here also. What has the experience been like for you being on this show?
Jasmine, thank you. All right. Congratulations, but thank you. Right. So to be a part of something, I'm an old fuddy-duddy that gets to be on a podcast. Like, come on, that is awesome. And then to watch you go from 1 to 50, like that is super special. So I'm happy and honored to be a part of the ride and the journey. I've been able to talk more sports on your podcast and I probably talk in my normal day. So I'm thankful. I'm thrilled for you, and I look for 50 and maybe even 200 more.
Amen. For sure. We're going to look for that as well. But let's get into some topics. And the first topic I want to start by is the Nick Saban saga, the Nick Saban situation that happened last week. He made comments about Texas A&M paying millions of dollars to get these players. And I believe he's upset because Texas A&M was the number one recruiting team this past offseason. Alabama was number 2. Then he comes at Jackson State with Deion Sanders, and we know what Deion stands for. So, Leon, I want to start with you. What was your reaction to what Nick Saban said?
So I heard that, and I'm like, so now that it's kind of semi on the side, kind of legal to pay now, Texas A&M had deeper pockets with their fan base, and they're getting who they want. Saban did it all these years, wherever, when it wasn't legal. Now he's fussing about illegalities, and this one can't do that, and this one can't. And then Jackson State. Come on, man. You mad because Deion is pulling some players? I tell you what. Let's see how mad he gets. Go ahead and schedule a game with Jackson State and pay a $5 or $6 million guarantee like you do McNeese State and everybody else. Let's see what happens then. He's not going to schedule then because you know why? He might get beat.
Ooh.
Might get beat.
Wow.
Now he's going against Texas. Who else is he gonna yell at? So what's he gonna do this week? I say he's gonna have a meeting with all the business owners down in Tuscaloosa. He's gonna bring them all together and say, y'all got to start giving some more money and offering some more legal NIL to all these kids. And one more thing, don't be surprised if Alabama's NIL department grows considerably. Saban ain't gonna lose.
Wow, that was some strong comments there, Leon. But I want to go back to what you said. That's a good idea. Why doesn't he want to play Jackson State that first game or in the regular season? Frank, I want to bring you in. Like, should that happen? I mean, he's talking, they paid this, they did this to get this player. Like Deion Sanders isn't a legend in football, and a lot of kids look up to him. But should Jackson State and Alabama play?
Yes. I mean, if Nick is the guy that he says he is, he should be all about that smoke.
Right.
He'd be able to say, "Hey, Deion, you're prime. Well, if you're prime, let's play. Let's see what it is." But he ain't gonna do that. But he should. He should really say, "Hey, I want to play anybody and everybody because we're Alabama and we're that team." And Prime is building Jackson State. He's getting players, and he's got folks who are engaged in the program, and that's really what Nick needs to be working about.
Right.
He needs to go to all of his boosters and say, "Hey, Texas A&M, Texas, Jackson State, Auburn, they're beating us in the legalized recruiting, and we need to get there if we want to stay Alabama." And he's not ready to do that yet.
I agree. Now, Jeremiah, he did backtrack. He did apologize, of course, some damage control. But what do you think, you think Jimbo Fisher and these guys, it's just an apology, or it's like it's game on now? Like, it's over with. And then now we're going to try to beat you.
Oh, no, because it's game under. It's just like revealing that secret door that's inside of your house that you had cracked away, that you had locked away, that you had nobody to go behind. But since you let it crack open, now it leaves the door open for so many things to come out and so many things to be there. And it just exposed Nick Saban's true feelings on when it came to a lot of different things. Now, a lot of these coaches, they're not going to see him the same. It's a big snake mentality because it's being a hypocrite at the end of the day. Mm-hmm. Because we're not going to forget, Saban, you were in LSU before you came to what's it called, Alabama. You were different. So when it came to getting other players in other places and stuff, people can go all the way back. So I think it's a big hypocrite thing for him to say. And also, I think, you can't come back from it, even though it's apologizing, because this thing already got out to the media already, and you had a whole day and a half to sit on this and have these other people's reaction. But then you want to come back and be like, "Oh no, it was no shots." It was definitely some shots, and it's definitely something that you wanted to put out there.
Definitely. And it's all about thinking before you speak. And obviously, Nick Saban truly feels that way about Texas A&M and Jackson State. And the biggest question that I have is, why are you worried? You've been dominating college football for the past decade. Alabama's always been the cream of the crop when it comes to college football. I mean, that's the only sport that's popping in Alabama, really, if we're going to be honest. So, I mean, of course, these other schools are like, okay, now we finally have a chance. We can get these recruits that Alabama always gets to get. And now they're competing. And now Nick Saban is scared. If you're you're arguably probably the greatest college football coach of all time. And you're worried about Texas A&M and Jackson State. Are you scared? And to be honest with you, Texas A&M the past couple of years has been playing them at a very high level. Then you have Jackson State, who's trying to get on the map. Of course, you have Deion. He's trying to build an empire there and trying to build a powerhouse there also. That would bring more traction to Jackson State. Now people will be like, Jackson State is making Nick Saban feel uncomfortable. So it's going to be very interesting. But, Leon, let's switch gears a little bit. This whole hoopla about the transfer portal, a lot of these guys wanting to transfer to different colleges. What is your take on the transfer portal, and is it a good thing or a bad thing?
I think it's good for the players. It's good for the athletes. because prior to this, they had to get the okay, the approval to go somewhere else. Now they don't need to do that. I mean, what college student, many college students transfer anyway. So now what we're saying is if you don't like it here for whatever reason, put your name on the list and you can go on and go somewhere else. I think it's great for the players. So now what are the universities, what are the teams going to do? Well, first we know that NIL money is going to be flying around, right? We know that, okay? But the second thing is I think some players are going to start giving, more players are going to start giving smaller schools and HBCUs a second look after they've been at a bigger school. The next thing is if I was a college coach, I'm only playing 1 year at a time. I know when they football players hit campus in July or August or whenever that is, I got them this year. Let's win this year. There's no more long-term planning. Let's just win this year and assume that they're all not one and done, but one and gone. And if they stay for a second year, great. But this is the way it's going to be. That's my take on it.
And you mentioned the HBCUs, and I'm really rooting for the HBCUs because, you know, they've always been pushed to the side. We always see these big powerhouse schools. And now we're starting to see a change, obviously, with the Nick Saban situation versus Dion and different things like that. But Jeremiah, to you, like, do you think now that you see a lot of these kids starting to get into the transfer portal and go different places, could this be the rise of HBCUs in football? Like, are we going to see that now?
I believe so, because if you actually look at history, you will know that a lot of these recruiters, especially when it comes to the big name schools that you guys have, you know, the ones that are not HBCUs, they will come all across, you know, the world to visit these certain athletes that's either in Florida, that's either in Atlanta or certain places like those, and be wanting to get them to go like far out of their whole state to go to their school. And I feel like when it comes to HBCUs, you know, having them to get that certain money and also putting them on the map by having Dion and also these other ones like FAMU and just these historic ones, it would give these athletes a sense of I can stay home or I can just stay around to where I have my own people and just it's more better for me. And I feel like it can be a big market, especially for the NFL, because you don't see too many athletes and especially HBCUs get too much recognition when it comes to the NFL like that.
I agree. And there's a lot of athletes that do play for HBCUs, but they don't have, it's the funding, it's the popularity, it's all of that. But Frank, what is your take on that? Do you think, I'll ask you the same. Do you think now, being that we've seen these kids transfer, do you think that now the HBCUs is going to be able to climb up now?
I think HBCUs are going to play a bigger role. But, you know, I'm kind of torn on the whole transfer portal thing.
Okay.
And here's why. I'm an old school kid who says, hey, when you start something, you finish something. So when you get to a school, you should try to get to the end with that environment. And I do believe what you see sometimes is if a kid gets stuck in some adversity, instead of fighting through that adversity, they go to another place, and the transfer portal has made it easy. You know, I look at a kid like Jalen Hurts, who transferred, but look what he went through at Alabama, and then he goes to Oklahoma, and I think that's why he's having success in the league, where folks are going, well, wait a minute, we didn't see that. I think it's because he went through that adversity, and I think that hardens a player. I think it makes a player with more resolve. So I look at that and go, if you had the transfer portal, are kids going to maximize it, or are they going to continue and try to jump from every ship versus trying to fight through some things? But I do believe in today's landscape, there's going to be coaches and institutions that are going to leverage, and I think there are going to be some HBCUs that are going to really maximize, saying, hey, kid, you may not like it at LSU or somewhere else, but we've got a home for you here, right? And the NIL is going to play a much bigger role moving forward for the institutions that really align with their alumni base and their donor base to put presentations out in front of kids that can say, hey, we can market you. We can help market you for whatever it is you want to do after school, and then line your pockets at the same time.
I agree with that. And that's a strong point that you make where, you know, these kids go through adversity, like what Jalen Hurts went through when he transferred from Alabama to Oklahoma. A lot of these kids, you know, it's a lot of things happening and going on when it comes to that. And of course, you see a lot of these guys, you know, come like when you look at the Joe Burrows, started off at Ohio State, didn't really work out there, and then you go to LSU, and then you're a fifth year senior, and you win a championship. You had a historic run in that whole LSU championship year, as far as offense, and then of course look at him now. Look at what he's become. So we're seeing a lot of that. But I do think the HBCUs will start to climb. I think it's still time. There's still time that has to happen for it to, you know, become powerhouse, for HBCUs to become powerhouses for sports, or for football rather. But I think they have a chance. When you have Deion Sanders doing a lot of different things and a lot of recruiting, and then you have Nick Saban upset, and we know who Nick Saban is, it's gonna shed light to these HBCUs. It's actually good publicity for them. But that wraps up this segment. There's plenty more where that comes from for our sports. We'll be right back from a short break. We're gonna have our sponsors, Rent the Runway, the Smoke Shack, and the Fallen from the Sky movie preview. So we'll be right back for more sports talk.
Renting is everything. It's style at your doorstep, off the runway and into your closet. It's every trend you've been dying to try, and every designer you've yet to discover. It's wearing it your way every time and making it count everywhere you go. It's never worrying about what to wear, because something new is always coming your way. That's why renting is everything. New styles, top designers, all for a flat monthly fee. Start your subscription at renttherunway.com.
Slow roasted over hickory fire and pulled by hand. This is the way pit pork has always been done. Pulled pork lovers, rejoice. The smoky old days are back at the Smoke Shack. From the creative team that brought you The Browning Project and Dead by Morning comes a new thriller that will change the way you look at white-collar crime forever. Falling from the Sky.
You're watching Jasmine Pollock's First Impressions Sports Talk. Be sure to join Jasmine every week for great conversation on the NBA, NFL, and a wide variety of sports topics. To see past episodes of First Impressions Sports Talk, go to YouTube and search First Impressions Sports Talk. You can connect with Jasmine on LinkedIn by searching Jasmine Pollock. And now, back to more First Impressions Sports Talk.
Welcome back to Jasmine's First Impressions Sports Talk. And the voices you just heard were from Kelly Johnson and Dion Hunter. If you want voiceover work done, you can contact Leon Thomas at the LeonThomasGroup.com for more voiceover work. So Leon, welcome back. Now let's start to get into the NBA. So we got our little taste of the Western Conference final and now the Eastern Conference final. Now, one final looks more appealing than the other, obviously, right now. I think one is going to be a sweep, which I wasn't expecting. I did have Warriors in 7, but looks like it's going to be Warriors in 4. But then let's talk about that Western Conference final. What is your take on it? Does this diminish Luka as a star player, or is this, strengthening his cause because he is putting his team on his back?
I don't think it hurts Luka's cause at all. 2-time MVP. I think the MVP is what you do during the season and during the regular season. He's earned that. He's there, right? As far as the Warriors go, I mean, fighting through injuries the last couple years, they're back. The biggest concern that I have about the Warriors is Draymond Green. Can he keep his mouth shut and actually not get technicaled out of the next games? That's the biggest thing that I have on my mind regarding him. And Jasmine, before we take this NBA conversation further, we're going to have some guests joining us throughout the show, folks that have been on this show before that we've talked some sports with. And I understand we have one of them about to join us, Brett Clark, from near Baltimore. Brett's here to join us. Brett's been on at least one or two shows. And Brett, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you, Leon?
Everything is groovy. So Brett, we're talking a little NFL action now. Thanks for supporting Jasmine's show, and Frank, thank you for supporting Jasmine's show as well.
Yeah, congratulations.
This is show number 50, Brett.
That's amazing, and huge congratulations to you for that.
Thank you.
I celebrated something beyond the 50 mark that I'm not really happy about, which would be my birthday, but the show is definitely a happy occasion. So good for you. Good for you.
Thank you.
And it's been pleasurable to watch the work improve over time.
So Brett, I'm saying that we're talking about the Western Conference NBA playoffs. Golden State, they're healthy. They're back. If we can get Green to keep his mouth shut, they're going to sweep Dallas, and they may do the same thing against Boston or Miami, maybe. But
Boston right now, I was looking just before I came on. Looks like they're up pretty big. They could tie this thing up tonight.
That's Boston's up pretty big?
Wow.
They're up pretty big, yeah. They were up by, I think, 19 when I last looked.
Okay.
In the second quarter.
I have never seen, like, in the NBA playoffs this year, like, there's so many swings. Like, it's like either you get blown out or you're the team blowing the other team out. Like, it's so strange in these series. I haven't seen that before.
Yeah, scores are crazy and makes you wonder a little bit. They're all over the map. And to Leon's point, and the Warriors are certainly back. The other interesting thing, I didn't know, I mean, maybe I'm just clueless. I did not realize now, when you pull up rosters on ESPN, it has the salaries.
Yep. It does.
Wow. Let me tell you something. The Warriors have the money to win this thing as well. Oh my God. It's insane.
Crazy cash, huh?
I didn't realize you could see that. They're paying some big money to some of these guys, which they, not they haven't deserved it, but
when you look at the Warriors, and like I said, I had the Warriors win this series. I didn't know they was going to sweep and dominate the Mavs. I didn't see that coming. But when you look at the Warriors, I mean, this is the team a few years ago who was competing for championships. It was them in Cleveland, just going back and forth. Yeah. And of course, for the past couple of years, they've dealt with severe injuries. Klay Thompson with his injuries, and then Curry, and then just a lot of things were going on, and a lot of people getting traded and different things like that. But now they're back and they're healthy. And like you said, Leon, it's just the matter of time is Draymond just going to play. He's just not going to get angry and just not go back and forth with the refs. That's just the biggest question. But when you look at the Warriors, I mean, this is the team that everyone was talking about for years. This team has built its way up to this point. This is what they were waiting for. So now, they just have to take it. Obviously, I'm going for the Heat in all of it, obviously, because I live in Florida, so I automatically have to do that. But when I look at it, it's just the experience that the Warriors have. They have experience out of all three teams. They do, genuinely.
Well, yeah, they've been there a lot. Like, they have some superstar power. They're healthy again. And I thought the Mavericks would push them to 7, right? I mean, Luka's been playing out of his mind, but goes to show, and I think the same thing we saw with the Bucks. You need more than one guy, That one guy, if he's a stud like that, just can't do it by himself. But I did think they'd make a better showing. It looks like, as you said, they're going down 4-0. And I think the Warriors just roll
I had
out.
high hopes for the Mavs for sure. I really thought they were going to push it, like you said, to 7 in order. And I still thought the Warriors would win because of just the experience and all of that. But getting swept, I didn't see that coming. But Leon, let's go to the Eastern Conference. So Brett just talked about the Celtics are up big right now because they tied the series. What is your take on this Miami and Celtics series? Like, it's a weird series to me.
Well, I'm going to say a couple things. Number one, if anyone watched your NFL draft show that we started 1 hour after the NFL draft, you picked like 8 of the 9 draft picks that were on during your show. You're like, they're going to take a defensive player. Yep, backfield. In fact, they're going to take a wide out. It's going to be one of these 3 guys. I mean, you're calling it, right? So whatever you say, I tend to want to go with now because you've built up your credibility in knowing what's going to happen. Now, the next point is this. I don't think Boston is playing consistently well enough to win it. I just don't get that knockout power from them. Now, personally, on a personal note, I don't want Boston to win. Right? I'm not going to say that I hate Boston, but I don't like Boston. I'm talking about the teams, the city. Now, that's when you and Brett are supposed to ask me why. Go ahead, ask me.
Yeah, I mean,
why
I have an affinity for Boston.
Okay, well, Brett, I'm sorry you have an affinity for Boston, and I want you to get on my train for at least 3 minutes. Okay, here we go.
Come on, bring it.
All right, so I was playing high school basketball, and I had an internship at Wes Unseld's school, the school that is run by his wife. And I said, Wes, can you come to my game tomorrow night? And he says, I can't. Oh, what do you mean? Why not? He says, I'll be in Boston. We're playing in Boston tomorrow. I'm like, oh, okay. So then let's go back probably 20 years or so before that. My dad, right? This happened to my dad because I'm in high school. I wasn't 20. So this happened to my dad even before I was born. My father was a sky cap at the Baltimore airport. And Bill Russell was walking through the airport. And my dad said, hey, Bill Russell, can I have your autograph? Bill Russell says, I don't sign autographs.
Oh,
right.
Wow.
So dad told me that. So that was first Boston. Second Boston was Wes Unseld. Hey, Caden, come to my game. Well, a few years later, Unseld retires, and he's doing color commentary for the Washington Wizards, Bullets, whatever they were called at the time. And I said, hey, Wes, I'm coaching now. Can you come to my game? And he takes out his daytimer and he looks and he says, I can't.
Be in Boston.
Like, why? Yeah, you got it, Brett. I'll be in Boston broadcasting the game. I'm like, man, are you kidding me? So after the game, I'm listening to the report on the news, right? And they say that in the Boston Garden, they didn't provide heat for Wizards, Bullets, whatever they were at the time. They didn't give them heat. And some of the restaurants poisoned their food.
Wow.
I don't like Boston. Right? That's it. So look, if Boston's playing against, it doesn't matter. If they're playing, it doesn't matter the sport. I don't want Boston to win.
You do have to admit, though. You do have to admit it's kind of good to see the green back in there after a while. Hey, we had the Lakers Boston back in the day. Come on, man. Magic Bird.
Those okay. Yeah, what
I mean, come on.
But it's gonna be Boston Golden State, or it's gonna be somebody Golden State.
I think at this point it's just Golden State.
Right. And can I tell you one more thing about Miami though? You know that their coach Eric Spoelstra started as a video coordinator. Right, and worked his way up. So he's not a former player put in the position. It's not a legacy thing. This guy worked, and so I'm very, very happy that the Heat showed that you can work your way through the organization. So I'm very happy for that. Okay, I'm off my horse. I'm done. I'm going to step away a bit. You and Brett and whoever else go ahead and talk.
Yes, thank you, Leon, so much. Well, Jeremiah, you're talking about your Heat. So let's talk about it. We have Brett and Frank back. So he mentioned Eric Spoelstra. And we seen Eric Spoelstra even when LeBron was down there dominating. And that Heat team was, going to championships back to back and different things like that. Eric Spoelstra, I really love how the Heat organization is ran, genuinely, from Pat Riley all the way down to him, and just how the team is constructed, and just the good job he's done. There was always the question of, being that LeBron's gone and Wade's gone, can he ever get back to winning form or get back to a finals and different things like that? And here we are. He was just in the finals 2 years ago in the bubble. Now he's Eastern Conference Finals. So Jeremiah, as a Heat fan, what is your take on it?
Well, when it comes to Eric Spoelstra, and especially that Heat culture, it's just all about the next man up mentality of just all about hustle and heart. When it came to after, LeBron left and, D Wade retired and everything else, everybody was thinking like, Heat was going to go into a rebuild. But such as Eric Spoelstra being, just a strong head coach within among the greats, of a different Popovich and other ones, not all the way of those wins, but you can just see how close he keeps his team attached, no matter what type of group that he has, because it's all about instilling the culture just from day one all the way till the end. And you can just see it from today, just having a lot of undrafted players. Last year, Miami didn't have any draft picks in the draft. All of these players that we have right now are a lot undrafted or ones that we got free agency. And I think that's the best way just of Pat Riley and just the whole organization from not, like I said before, losing that culture and all about the winning and hustle mentality that I'm going to outwork you and out hustle you.
I agree. And I like that. Frank, for you, what is your take on I think we lost Frank, but Brett, being that we're seeing, you talked about the Celtics, and of course the Celtics is a dynasty, and Celtics is one of the, franchise teams in the NBA. What is your take on, just the Miami Heat and just Eric Spoelstra from where he started to what he is now and what he's accomplished?
Well, I think it's kind of interesting to see a guy that has come up the way he came up, right? He probably brought a lot of that work ethic with him, and I think that rubs off on his team. And seeing what they did with Philadelphia, which I think going into that series, a lot of people probably had Embiid, been able to stay healthy. Maybe they put on a better showing, but I think there's a lot of thought that they wouldn't get past them. But a guy like that, I think he brings the right culture and the right mindset, and players obviously have bought in, and they're playing like that, and this is they're not gonna roll over, they're gonna keep fighting, and it would not shock me to see them going against the Warriors for the NBA Finals.
Yes, for sure, and I have them winning the series, but I did say in 7. I still think the Heat, even though I think both these teams are battle tested, Heat and the Celtics. Celtics been battling, this young team, and now they have a coach that is defensive minded. We always wondered if the Celtics for the past couple of years were tough, and now they look like a very, very tough team. And the Heat, I just love seeing the battle. Like, I love seeing that, whereas, the Warriors series is about to be a sweep. It's very, sad, because I love seeing competitive games. I don't like seeing games where these teams are getting blown out or these teams are getting swept. But it's very good to see like what Eric Spoelstra came from, and I really appreciate what Pat Riley is doing. Just him alone. We don't talk about him enough of how he put this team together and constantly giving Eric Spoelstra that you got this. I give you the nod to it, and I'm gonna get you the pieces, and I'm just gonna step out and just see how you work. And he's been doing a very phenomenal job. But let's switch gears to the NFL. Yes, Leon.
Hold up 1 second, please, before we do that. We have Coach Jim Hoy with us.
Hey.
Coach Jim Hoy from 412 Boxing in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. If you've watched Jasmine's show, you will recall that back in August or September, Coach Hoy was here. Great conversation, Jasmine, that you had with Coach Hoy. And what I'd like to do, Jasmine, is let you and Coach Hoy go ahead and talk some about the success that his boxing program is having, because he sent me a text with some great updates on how things are going. So let's give him a chance to do that. And Coach Hoy, it's good to have you. Good to have you with us again. How's everything?
Hello, Leon. Good to see you, my dear friend.
Yeah.
Hi, Coach.
Hi, Jasmine. Jasmine, I've been a fan, and we've just got back from a big national tournament, and I just hope that I could tell you what I tell our young fighters, because I can see you are that mold. And what I can tell you is this: 90% of it's showing up every day. And I've been following you, and you show up every day. And believe me, in the end, it pays off. It will.
Absolutely.
And it feels at times 90% of what we do is behind the scenes. So what you do, what Leon does, what I do, 90% of it goes unseen and unnoticed. Boy, but when that 10% lands, whoo, look out.
Right.
Look out. And that's going to happen for you. I know that.
Thank you so much, Coach. It's been a while since we talked, since we last spoke. We had a great conversation a few months ago about boxing and different things like that. So how have you been? What's going on? And just, how's the program going for you?
The program is going great. 7 years ago, we started with one kid. Mm-hmm. Now we have over 40 kids. And we just got back. Recently from Cleveland, Ohio, for the USA Boxing regional qualifier that will allow kids to attend a national qualifiers that leads to the Olympic trials. And we had 3 kids finish in the top 10.
Wow.
Amazing, right?
That's phenomenal. And
yes.
It's amazing to see like the youth getting involved in different things like that. And I love boxing. I love following boxing and seeing these young kids start to get up and just dominate. But what did you do in order to prepare your boys for that, like for that moment? Because I know it's a big moment, it's a big stage. What was the process like during that?
The process was 2-a-day practices every day. We did lifting and conditioning at mid-morning every day. And then after that, they ran to my house, which is 4 miles away. And then they ran to my house, and then I would make them lunch, and then they would get off their feet for a few hours, and then we would go 3 hard hours after that in the early evening. And, we just wanted to make sure that if we were to lose, we would never lose to an athlete who was in better shape. Well, we committed to conditioning, and it thoroughly paid off.
I agree. Conditioning is very important. This past year, I just finished my junior year of college. I was playing flag football, and conditioning was my biggest thing. Maybe not the teams, but yes. Conditioning is very important. Like just getting into shape and making sure your endurance is at a high level and you're competing at a high level. And it's not because they're a better athlete than me who I'm playing against. It's because maybe they had a better coaching. That's how you're going to beat me. But from the last time we talked about expansion. Like, have you guys looked in other areas to expand and bring more young youth to the program, or is it just still the same, or you're just still progressing towards that?
No, you know what? I can honestly tell you this, and I'm embarrassed to tell you, we have 6 new kids in the gym, and I don't even know their name yet. We have been growing, and nothing grows any program, regardless whether it's an art program, a dance program, or a boxing program. Nothing grows that program like success, and we've been very successful. And our kids are the best advertisement. So we've been very, very fortunate in that regard. But now we have so many kids. We've got this tiny little gym in Pittsburgh, and today we had 31 kids there. So it's a blessing and a huge headache at the same time.
Oh wow, that's amazing! But I just love to see that. It gives me. It makes me happy to see that you have people out there who care about youth, who want the youth to be involved in different things and aspire to push them towards their dreams. Like, these young athletes, I love to see it. It's amazing because, they're putting their bodies out there, they're getting into shape and they're staying focused. Like at a young age, having that mindset is phenomenal. Yeah. But Coach, like for yourself, like where do you see this program headed in the next few years, being that you had so much success? Where do you see it heading in the next few years?
Well, you know what, our goal, our goal is clearly this. Our big goal is to put a kid on the Olympic team. I've been coaching for 38 years now, and I would trade every second of it to turn on NBC and watch one of my kids represent the United States of America in Olympic boxing. So that is our ultimate goal from an athletic point of view. But from a realistic point of view, we just had one of our kids join the Air Force. And wow. He's going to have a career, and he's going to box for the Air Force. And, we tell our kids all the time, boxing makes you tough, work makes you a man. And, he's going to have a great career. As soon as the boxing stops, his life is going to continue on into his field. And that's really our goal. Is as much as I love the boxing, it's really not about the boxing. It's about preparing them to be young men.
And we need more of that, especially love seeing the role models and giving these young men examples and having them, and like I said before, just aspiring to get to their dreams and developing themselves and making sure that they're prepared for the world so they can be better individuals. And it's just amazing. I'm very happy, Coach, that you are, spending your time and taking up your time to develop these young men. It's a phenomenal thing.
Jasmine, I most of my assistant coaches are half my age. I'm 64 years old, and most of my coaches are half my age, and they're very excited about the boxing. But what I tell them is they're not going to remember the boxing and what you've taught them as much as they're going to remember that you taught them how to tie a tie.
Right.
You showed them how to mow a lawn. You showed them how to put gas in a car.
Right.
And so much of what we do and what we teach has nothing to do with boxing at all. And I have to remind our young coaches that every now and then. But, when you say you're making a difference, you really want to make a difference outside the ring. That's where it matters.
Mm-hmm. Coach Hoy, I've known you a long time, and
yes,
you've been coaching, ever since when we met, we were both coaching, right? So I don't know. I don't remember you going into coaching. I met you. You were already coaching.
I think it was Coach Leon.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. Now, what's changed in terms of the kids, and have you changed any over that 40, 50 some years?
You know what?
What's different?
Here's what's changed, and here's what wasn't changed. I know we probably hear this a lot lately. I am so tired of people saying kids today. Kids today are better than ever. They're more driven. They're more focused. They're more aware. They're more politically aware. They're more socially aware. They're better than ever. What really bothers me is that parents have changed, and they've expected Netflix and social media to do their job, to do their parents. It's really pretty easy, to sit your kid down in front of the television and let them watch Netflix all night rather than to drive them to practice.
Right.
And so parents have changed. I think parents have become softer. Often, are looking for the easiest way to raise that child, and there's no easy way to raise a child. Parenting is hard work. And so I would say that, that's the thing. I think kids are, that it offends me when people say kids today. I love the kids we coach today, Leon, and you would love coaching them. You know what I mean? But parents, not so much. And I will tell you this, Leon, as you know, one of the great things about our gym, it is a no parent zone. So listen, no parent zone. Don't walk in the door. Don't even come to a complete stop. Push them out of the car and keep going. You know what I mean? And it seems to really work. So how have I changed? I think I'm a little bit willing to listen now. I'm a little bit willing to listen, and I'm a little bit quicker to say, I'm sorry, I'm an idiot. So instead of waiting a week, I can say it the next day usually.
Right.
So I think that's where I've changed. And I think it's I think I'm just lucky to have this job.
Right. Yeah. Jasmine, I just want to toss one more conversation piece out, and then I'll back out again. Coach Hoy talked about some of the relationships that you still have with current players. I see a lot of postings about that, but I'd like to hear from you, those former players. You still have those relationships with them, and the another piece with that. Tell us a great story that's happened in coaching. I mean, is it the Vincentian story at Northgate where we almost lost, or whatever? Tell us one of those. We got a lot of comments and feedback about some of those incidents that you talked about. Go ahead.
Well, one of the kids that Leon and I coached together was a kid named George Edmonds, And he started for me for 4 years in high school. He is black and Korean and 6'4". And he was a great kid. And as all kids at that age, once they start to get a little bit better, they think they know a little bit better than Leon and I. And George was running by the bench, and he said, "Coach, put Jody in." And I was like, okay. And then he runs back again. He's like, "Coach, get Jody back in the game." And Jody was his best friend and our best defender. He runs by one more time and goes, "Coach, get Jody back in the game." And I said, "Jody, go in." And we sent Jody in for George. So he went in and tapped George, said, "George, you're out." So George comes over, sits down between me and Leon, and he kicks the bench real hard underneath his heels, kicks the bench with his heel. I said, "You sure you want to coach tonight, or do you want to play?" And he decided he wanted to play after that and kept his mouth shut for the most part around Leon and I. But now talking about George, though, I just hosted the Pittsburgh Basketball Hall of Fame luncheon. And one of the presenters was my granddaughter. And she's beautiful, tall, African-American, part Korean, part white girl. And that's his daughter. And she calls me granddad. I'm the only grandfather she's ever known. And so, I mean, that was how long ago? 30 years for you and I, Leon? And then
we're looking.
Here she is all grown up, and she's helping me host. She's helping me host this award dinner. And I mean, it's just, those kids and those people, you hear coaches say family and things like that all the time. But I think that we really, we aspire to be that, and we tell the kids all the time, we will be there for you. And
right.
We have been. And it's made our lives really good, really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Jasmine.
That was one. I love hearing other people's experiences. Like it's so amazing, even though, I've never been around boxing at all, but, talking to you and we talked before, just hearing the stories about these young kids. And then you say you built a connection with someone you weren't expecting to. Like there's so many things that go into that where you don't expect, like, okay, I've coached this kid, I know this kid, I've seen this kid grow up, and now, we have that connection and that bond. It's an amazing thing, and it's making the world a better place. That's all I care about, is making the world a better place and people coming together and, just seeing everyone develop and seeing everyone, just evolve with time positively.
Yeah, you know what it is, and it is such a great thing for our community. Like tomorrow, we're going to go down to the senior citizens home. And on the warm days, the senior citizens all sit outside in their rocking chairs and talk. And we go down in the middle of the street and we jump rope and do our shadow boxing in our uniforms. And older Americans love boxing. And so we go down there, and then the kids, they get to go, punch mitts or whatever a little bit with some of the senior citizens, and they get to talk boxing about boxers back in their day. And it is such a prideful thing and such a great thing for our kids to do, because we rely solely on donations, and I love giving back every chance we get.
Right.
Yeah. Jasmine, we just got a grant for $23,000 from the Women's Business Organization in Pittsburgh.
Wow.
So that we can fly to nationals this year.
Wow.
Yeah. So you know what? You're doggone right. We're going to give back.
Right.
And, we have been so blessed in that regard. So every chance we get to go to give back to our community, we really do.
And that's what it's all about, giving back and, inspiring others. Because just a question, what are some boxers? I don't know if you're invested in the boxing world of watching it, but what boxers right now are you like looking at and you're like, I like this guy, or you're a fan of? Any boxers?
You know what? I have to tell you that our focus is on the Olympic style boxers. I really don't watch too much pro boxing. It is as different as softball and baseball.
Yes.
It's as different as flag football and the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
They're both very good in their own right, but both very different.
Very different. Mm-hmm.
So I kind of don't watch too much pro pro stuff, but we really focus on, like, we've had a couple Olympic kids in Cleveland, which isn't far away. So, we kind of, we tend to, if there's a big international event, we'll have the kids over and we'll watch Olympic style boxing or international AIBA boxing together. But that's basically where my focus is. I don't watch a lot of boxing, and Leon can tell you this. I've never watched much sports ever. You know why? Because someone once told me, do you think the mailman goes for a walk on his day off? No, he doesn't. Okay. And that's how I feel about it. Like, I love coaching, but when I come home, the last thing I want to see is somebody else getting punched in the face. Okay.
Wow. Yeah.
So when I'm not in the gym, and I try to preach that to the kids, it doesn't always work, but I try to preach to the kids all the time. Remember, boxing is what you do. It's not who you are.
Right.
Don't limit yourself. So when I come home, I'm pretty much away from the sports.
Mm-hmm. Coach Hoy, I'd like you to meet Jeremiah Nixon. Jeremiah has been just a huge supporter of Jasmine's show. He also is a student, a rising senior at Warner University, a sport management major. Yeah. And great things are going to happen with him too. In fact, he's working.
Can I interrupt you? I already don't like him. Okay, Jeremiah Nixon, what a great name. How come I didn't get a name? I got Jimmy Hoy. I got an Irish name right off the boat. He gets Jeremiah Nixon. Stop it. Okay. He gets the job when they open the letter. We're hiring this kid.
I mean, right? I like Hoy. I like Coach Hoy. This guy has a ring to him.
Good to meet you.
It's great to meet you too. I really enjoyed hearing everything that you was talking about, especially what you do for the sport of boxing, having your students, and actually going into these competitions. It was just a great listen, and I learned a lot from you.
Thank you. And if I can tell you, and if I can promise both of you young superstars, and you are superstars, I can promise you this: 90% of it is showing up every day, and and that applies to you like you would not believe. So just show up and do your job, and then someday I'm going to turn on ESPN and I'm going to see you two, and I'll say, I know them. I'll say, no, you don't. I'll say, yes, I do. Yep. And that's going to happen for you. Do the work. And we tell our kids all the time, and I'm talking to you, it's so easy to get to the top because the bottom is so crowded. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Do the work. How many people are really willing to do the work?
Of course, because my dad always tells me all the time. He was like, hard work and good times go together. But
yes,
the hard work comes first.
Yes,
all the time the hard work comes first to get to the good times.
Exactly. And like I was telling Jasmine earlier, that 90% of it is just showing up. And remember, 90% of that work is done with nobody watching.
Right.
Like Jasmine, you preparing for your show. I would imagine, for both of you guys, I would imagine that doing the shows, the fun part, the hard work is preparing for it.
Yep.
What nobody sees.
Absolutely.
That is the work, and that's kind of how we look at the boxing. When it's fight night, that's a blast.
Right.
We tell our kids all the time, you don't win on Saturday. You don't win Saturday night. You win Monday night. You win Tuesday night. You win Wednesday night. And when Saturday comes, we've already won. We've already beat this kid 10 times.
I love that mentality. It's really, it's contagious because you need to have that inside of you.
Yes, exactly. And we do. We all do have it inside of it.
Right.
But it's getting to the right place and surrounding yourself with the right people who can pull that out of you. Because as we know, there's so many people that would rather squash that in you.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Forget them. Right. Exactly. And I'm about to have my first little girl be a national champion this year.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
Her name is Peanut Brittle.
That's a name.
Peanut Brittle?
All of our kids get nicknames. Okay. Mostly because I can't say their names and I certainly can't spell them. All right. But so they all get a nickname. And this little girl's name, she's 12 years old. And her name is Peanut Brittle. And she says, because it's sweet, but it's bad for your teeth. It's bad for your teeth.
I like that.
Oh, I like that. I like that.
And she is just adorable. And boy, can she fight. Oh, my goodness. She lost in the finals at regionals this year, and it was heartbreaking for me. She was telling me afterwards, Coach, it's okay. It's okay, Coach. you know how that can be, right? You know,
right.
But she is truly the apple of my eye.
Yeah.
She's 12 years old, 80 pounds, and never stops talking ever.
Love it.
Love
it.
Love it. So she's going to have your job in about 20 years, Jasmine. All right.
Love it.
Yes.
Well, Jasmine, again, congratulations on your 50th show.
Yes.
Right? Keep working, putting the time in, being prepared, and good things happen. But it just doesn't happen. Good things follow good work.
Yes.
Right. It's
100%.
not. This isn't magic. You do what you're supposed to do, and good thing. There you go. It happens. It's no mistake. It doesn't happen by accident. And Coach Hoy, thank you for being with us again. And your encouragement, Jeremiah. In fact, Jeremiah and I had a conference this afternoon. Talk about putting the time in.
Leon, the last thing is we are on camera, right?
We are.
Okay, so we're going to hold them to this. All right. When they're hosting the ESPYs, you and I get tickets.
Okay.
Yeah, front row.
That's on camera.
Around it.
Okay.
I heard Jeremiah say yes. I didn't hear anything from Jasmine.
No, I said yes.
Okay
I laughed.
Okay.
I'll do it.
Yeah.
Even though I would be terrified, but I'll do it for sure.
Okay.
And I encourage you. I was in basketball 7 years ago, basketball coach, and who retired. And I walked into a gym, and because I was there every day, and because I believe and trust and love what I do, I'm this far away from having a kid on the Olympic team. So, and what I'm telling, and that's not about me, but it's about you in this regard. Dream big. Dare to dream like a fool. All right. Dare to dream like a fool. All right. Dream big. And I promise you, be there and it will happen for you.
Thank you.
All right, guys.
Thank you for everything.
Have a good night, Coach. Thank you for joining us. Thank you so much.
It was great meeting
you. All right.
you.
Love all of you. Good night.
Thank you, Coach.
Bye.
Thanks for being
Good
with
night.
us. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. All right. Jasmine, congratulations again. That's episode 50. Jeremiah, thank you for your continued support. And things are gonna happen. As Coach said, just show up, dream big. And with that, I'll turn it over to you guys for the last minute 30 seconds. I'll back out. It's two of you for a minute and 30, and then we're done. Go ahead.
Okay, Jeremiah, the Lightning and the Panthers. So I hear my sister, when I was talking to Coach, I hear my sister clapping and chanting. I don't know what she was doing, but I'm assuming that the Lightning is going to win this game. And I'm assuming that's going to be a sweep for your Panthers.
Yes,
how are you feeling?
It is a sweep. One small steps, but ours is in inches. You guys are taking bigger feet steps, but I can't be mad at my Panthers. And so if we are not on the level that the Lightning are on right now, Lightning just won two straight championships. They have experience and they are gritty and they're going to get physical with you. And for the Panthers, they just won their first round since 1996. Taking small steps. But for the Lightning, I know this series right here was a big booster for them because doing in that first round, they went to 6 games with their first round team. Well, actually 7 games with their first round team. 7 games with their first round team. Having this sweep right here. Yes, having this sweep right here gives them the most confidence going forward. Because right now, it's going to be cut down to 4 teams only. And then, it's off to the races for them.
It's all about the heart of the champion. And you always wonder, with a team that's won back-to-back like that and has constantly been, holding that trophy and having those rings and that title, can you muster up that? And what I'm seeing from my team this year, especially in the playoffs, it was just seeing them go 7 games with the Maple this series and sweep the Panthers, even though the Panthers beat us in the regular season. And this happened last year. We met last year and we beat them.
Right. And that was just, insanely incredible. I feel like, having those things to happen and for them to get to the spot they are right now, I think that they have great advantage going forward and actually can maybe go for another three-peat. What do you think, Jasmine? Yeah, but I think when it comes to the Lightning and everybody, it's going to be good. But, again, congrats, Jasmine, on your 50th episode. This was very incredible. And for Leon, thank you for everything, having me on for all these episodes and being a part of this, transition, this big project that she's going to keep, improving and have this even be bigger,
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Jeremiah, for those words, and thank you for everything you do to support the show. I'd also like to thank our behind-the-scenes producer, Dr. J. Dr. J, why don't you come on in for a hot second before we do an official sign-off here? Dr. J does a great job behind the scenes and making sure things are going smoothly. Without you, this doesn't happen. So thank you, Jay, for what you do. And again, you are here on the final segment of Jasmine Pollock's First Impression Sports Talk, her 50th show. And Jay, I think we were having some audio difficulties. Yeah. Thank you for being a part of it. Thank you for what you do.
No, it's honored to be a part of the 50th show, and hopefully 50 more, however it takes.
Yeah,
you guys have been awesome and keep getting better.
Yep. And so with that, we'll go ahead and say goodnight. Jasmine, congratulations. Keep doing good things. Jeremiah, keep it rocking. Jay, thanks for what you do. I'm executive producer Leon Thomas, Jeremiah Nixon, producer Jay Rasenko, and show host Jasmine Pollock. Thank you everyone for watching, and we'll see you next week where we're back to the regular show, Jasmine Pollock's First Impression Sports Talk, Monday at 9:00. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a good night.
Good night.